Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we have content and clips out the wazoo today. So let's get it going. The first thing you need to know is that it is Friday, and the official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel has come back into the fray. And what better day? That's Friday is when the cool guys come out. Here's his tweet. Mr. I sees that the same people who say Ripple isn't committed to XRP say Sir Brad's tattoo is fake. Well, Brad was in an interview today that was released today. Listen to this.
You know, the highest high, which admittedly was in and of itself an emotional roller coaster, and I have a tattoo referencing it on my left shoulder, July 13th, 2023. The court decision was issued by Judge Torres in the United States versus Ripple and I guess to some degree Brad Garlinghouse. There are three cases really, one against me, one against Chris, and one against Ripple.
So Brad confirms that he does have that tattoo. Now, check this out. This is from one of the, I think she was at XRP Las Vegas. She's talking about the politics of everything. Then Brad Garlinghouse replies, and he's retweeting a Novogratz tweet, which I can't see. Mike Novogratz blocked me while we were uncovering ETHgate. Was it some of your own words that I showed that made you uncomfortable, Mikey? I guess so. Given how close the last election was, I predict that this will end up being the issue that pushes swing state voters away from the Dems. When will they realize Senator Warren is leading them off a cliff? She may be leading herself off a cliff too. Now, Brad Combs just released all of the footage from XRP Las Vegas. There's a couple of clips you got to see. This one is with Uphold CEO Simon McLaughlin.
Sure. Well, you'll have seen last year we had an announcement that we're now a node in the Ripple ODL network. So Ripple use us to handle payouts for multinational companies moving treasury from one part of the world to another. We cover Europe, the UK, and the US. And it's been a very exciting business for us. It's exciting to see the utility use case of a major crypto in action. We can see the flows being used. We can see major fintechs and financial institutions using it day to day, and you know for us it's a fantastic piece of business, and we're big believers in blockchain technology. We're not really so interested in crypto as a speculative vehicle, and here's an example of how blockchain is being used to serve a major problem in traditional financial infrastructure. So yeah, we're very excited to be part of it. Yeah, well, we're hugely excited about the stablecoin. I think it's good news for the XRP project. It's good news for XRP holders. Our view is that it's likely to increase transactionality on the network. It will encourage more people to build on the XRP ledger. An example would be, we saw on Cardano last year, they introduced a stablecoin on their ledger midway through the year. And it tripled development activity on Cardano within 6 months, and I heard that from one of the founders. So I think it's going to be a tremendous step forward, actually. And also, I'd imagine, if you're going in and talking to a major bank to adopt XRP as a way of moving value, it's going to be so much easier to talk about a stable coin. Banks don't employ people who understand crypto, but for them to understand a stablecoin, it's going to make it a much easier sell, I think, to get adoption.
Certainly.
One of the most important things we want to do is introduce the ability for people to earn a yield on XRP held on Uphold. So you can expect an announcement next quarter. We're very excited about that.
Next time.
Next quarter. We're working on it now, and we've got some very exciting news to come. And I've been asked several times this morning about the card. The card is coming back to the US. The The debit card, we've now got a plan in place. We're busy building it at the moment, but you can expect the card to be back in the US towards the end of the year. I'm hoping for Q3, latest Q4, but virtual card, physical card, hook it up to any asset, spend it, super low FX rates. And I know a lot of people here were using it and then unfortunately we had to withdraw it, but it's coming back.
All right,
sure.
Good stuff. And then there was this from Greg Kidd, who was one of the first 10 guys at Ripple.
How did you go from Bike Messenger to Federal Reserve to Ripple to now running for Congress?
Wow, I must be at the wrong conference. I thought I was here for the Federal Reserve. But from listening to the presentations, there's something else going on here. Look, it has been a Forrest Gump story and walk. I did go from working for the Federal Reserve, which was, the deep state, to a poker game with other deep state players, like from Google and Visa. And they talked about this new company. There was no Bitcoin company, but there was a company called Ripple. Google actually invested in it. And it was like the Bitcoin ledger, but with 2 extra columns in the spreadsheet. One for the issuer and one for the currency. And thank you to Arthur Brito and David Schwartz for educating me about what the future looked like. And I got to go from history world at the Federal Reserve to the whole new universe that XRP and Ripple brought. Taking something which was an innovation, Bitcoin, and making it something that could apply to every form of value in the world. And Chris Larson talked about the Internet of Value. I was hooked. I was the one voice that said, hey, maybe we need some risk management and compliance. And, I think Chris probably said, why? What could go wrong? And, the rest is history. And Ripple, I'm very proud, has also been on the forefront of sorting out the public policy issues that hold this incredible industry back. And, yeah, I've been lucky. I've been a Forrest Gump approach and got a front row seat. From when I joined, I was employee number 10 at Ripple, and look what it's become now.
All right, that was very interesting stuff. And so is this. Look at this from Uptown Salt, institutional validators, folks. This was the way it was always going to happen. This is Robbie Mitchnick, who is now at BlackRock and used to be at Ripple, and also was involved in the fundamental valuation framework, which is the only allowed by the crypto police. It's the only allowed valuation framework of XRP ever put together. Robbie Mitchnick, right, you can have speed and security, but the best way to get that is have a centralized pool of validators who control the network that's efficient. To have true decentralization requires sacrificing on those so that you have a broad pool of validators working on a network. There's no clustering of power, but as a result, you rely on other methods of generating consensus, which tend to be slower and more difficult to scale. And so, if you're willing to sacrifice on true decentralization and have a predetermined set of institutional validators, which in many use cases is a perfectly reasonable trade-off, then actually speed and scale be orders of magnitude. I've always called this controlled decentralization. The idea of things just being decentralized is never what it was going to be, because then you got all these people. It could be in Russia, China, controlling the mining power. But if you had controlled decentralization, it would make sense. Everybody agrees. You get this number of validators. You can put this number on your satellites, this number underground. That way, you don't have to trust each other. This is a clip from David Schwartz that was not out yet. He did this twice. It was really cool the way he introed himself on stage at XRP Las Vegas. Watch.
So David, let's get started. I guess before we start, do you want to introduce yourself? You don't need an introduction.
Hello, Las Vegas! You guys, I wasn't sure if that would work. I just always wanted to do that. I'm glad you guys are up for it. Do it again. Hello, Las Vegas! You guys having fun? No, seriously, this is an amazing conference.
Yep, that's cool stuff. Now, let's look at this. This Brad Garlinghouse today did an interview. There are so many clips in this thing, and I'm going to play a bunch of them. I put some of them out on X, but I'm going to play you some and give you some of my commentary on this stuff. And Brad Garlinghouse said covered everything from making a dent in the universe with Ripple to lessons learned over the years in Silicon Valley. So here we go. We'll play a couple of them here. Here's the first one.
Been at this for 9 years now, right?
It's like just past my 9th anniversary.
9 years in probably the most volatile industry we've ever seen. I'm curious for you, over that 9-year period, what has been the highest high and what's been the lowest low for you?
You know, the highest high, which admittedly was in and of itself an emotional roller coaster, and I have a tattoo referencing it on my left shoulder. July 13th, 2023, the court decision was issued by Judge Torres in the United States versus Ripple, and I guess to some degree Brad Garlinghouse. I mean, there are 3 cases really: one against me, one against Chris, and one against Ripple. And you know, look, I think there's so many things about this that made no sense from the beginning that you couldn't really understand. But, you know, when your life is in the hands of a judge, you don't really know. I mean, I believed deeply that we were right, but that moment, learning that we had, from my point of view, won all the things that we cared about, frankly, not just for Ripple, but for the industry, that was a big moment. That was a big high. But even that moment was an emotional roller coaster. I actually don't mind sharing. I haven't shared this publicly. I broke down crying.
Wow.
Because it was definitely like the weight of it. All of a sudden it was like, oh my God, like, you know, all of this energy, all this time, all this money
for
all
years.
This distraction. Oh yeah. Yeah. And so, well, I'll do the other, the lowest low, to some degree, December 22nd, 2020, which is the day they filed the lawsuit. Now, that wasn't the same because, you know, when we won on July 13th, we didn't know the decision was coming out that day. You know, I mean, it was definitely
out of the blue.
Yes. Yeah.
That's remarkable. I'm curious because